pleasant good morning to the listening and viewing audience. Welcome to the Anguilla House of Assembly's prelude to the first session of the 13th Anguilla House of Assembly. It is a collaborative production of the government's Department of Information, Technology and E-Government Services and in Anguilla, which has been established by Mr. Gilbert Gaff Fleming with the primary purpose of delivering images and video on various events occurring in Anguilla. A similar session was held in 2020 for the first session of the 12th Anguilla House of Assembly. On that occasion, it was initiated by Mr. Gilbert Gaff Fleming. On this occasion, it is a collaborative effort as part of the Anguilla House of Assembly's efforts to educate Anguilla's populace on governance matters, particularly as they relate to the operations of the House of Assembly. I am Stanley Reed, a student and practitioner of law and a former ex officio member of the Anguilla House of Assembly, having served as Deputy Governor from 2006 to 2016. We are preparing to bring live the first session of the 13th Anguilla House of Assembly. As a prelude to the actual proceedings, I will be briefly revisiting the events that preceded today's ceremony and also sharing with you some thoughts on what is expected to occur during this morning's proceedings. We will travel back 5 years and then come forward. Following the general election of 2020, the first session of the 12th Anguilla House of Assembly convened on the 17th day of July 2020. On that occasion, it heralded the swearing in of the Anguilla Progressive Movement, the APM, led by Dr. Ellis Lorenzo Webster as the governing party. The APM party in 2020 won 7 of the 11 elected contested seats. It was the first occasion on which the electorate voted for 7 district candidates and 4 island-wide at-large candidates. By proclamation dated 28 January 2025, Her Excellency the Governor Julia Crouch, OBE, dissolved the 12th Anguilla House of Assembly, effective the 29th day of January 2025. The proclamation declared that the Speaker and members of the House of Assembly were, as of 29 January 2025, discharged from their meetings and attendance. The functioning of one of the 3 arms of government, the legislature, was, by the dissolution of the 12th Anguilla House of Assembly, temporarily suspended. The dissolution of the 12th Anguilla House of Assembly was immediately followed by another proclamation by Governor Crouch, dated 28 January 2025, appointing Wednesday, the 26th day of February 2025, as the date and time for the general election of the members of the House of Assembly, with advanced polling being on the preceding day, the 25th of February 2025. On 29 January 2025, the governor issued writs of election for the election of members of the House of Assembly. The 8 returning officers on that same day issued a notice of nomination for districts 1 to 7 and the island-wide district, arranging for the nomination of candidates for election to the Assembly on the 7th day of February 2025 between certain dates, certain times, as mandated by the legislation, those times being between 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. and 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Nomination day saw 34 candidates being nominated to vie for 11 electoral seats in the Anguilla House of Assembly. After the 2015 general election, constitutional electoral reform had been pursued, and this resulted in amendments to the Constitution and electoral laws, which allowed an additional 4 island-wide candidates to be elected to the House of Assembly. The elected membership of the Assembly has therefore been increased from 7 to 11 as of the 2020 general election. The 7 district seats remained, with 4 additional island-wide seats being created. The constitutional amendments in 2019 also saw the title Premier replacing Chief Minister. As an aside, it should be noted that a recommendation resulting from the most recent constitutional electoral reform exercise was that there be 9 district seats rather than 7, along with the 4 island-wide seats. If implemented, this would result in 13 persons being elected to the House of Assembly. This proposal is one that a new administration can consider if it continues the process of constitutional electoral reform it began during its 2015 to 2020 term in office. Three parties, the governing APN, led by the Honorable Dr. Ellis Lorenzo Webster, the Anguilla United Front, the AUF, led by Mrs. Cora Richardson Hodge, and the Anguilla Reliable Team, ART, led by Mr. Curtis Richardson, contested the elections. The APM and the AUF had full slates of 11 candidates, while the ART party fielded a slate of 7 candidates. 5 independent candidates contested the 2025 general election, 3 for the island-wide seat, and 2 for a district seat, the District 1 in Island Harbor. Election night, 26 February 2025, saw the AUF emerging victorious at the polls, having secured 4 of the district seats and all 4 of the island-wide seats, for a total of 8 of the available 11 seats. The APM secured 3 district seats. No ART or independent candidates were successful at the polls. The governor and the leader of the successful AUF party moved swiftly to form the executive arm of government. In keeping with Section 24(1) and 2 of the Anguilla Constitution, the governor effected the appointment of the Premier, Mrs. Cora Richardson Hodge, and her ministers on 27 February 2025. I will share with you the relevant section of the legislation. Section 24(1) reads, "The governor, acting in her discretion, shall appoint as the Premier the elected member of the Assembly, who in her judgment is likely to command the support of a majority of the elected members of the Assembly." Mrs. Cora Richardson Hodge, being the leader of the AUF and having obtained 8 seats, and the party having obtained 8 seats, the majority in the House of Assembly, was appointed as Premier. Subsection 2 of Section 24 provides that the other ministers shall be appointed by the governor in accordance with the advice of the Premier from among the elected members of the Assembly. So the Premier would advise the governor who will serve as her ministers. One of the 2019 constitutional amendments has facilitated the appointment of 5 ministers rather than the 4 allowed prior to the 2019 amendment. We therefore now have an honorable Premier and 4 honorable ministers in the persons of Mrs. Cora Richardson Hodge, Mr. Carter Connor, Mr. Joseph Vanterpool, Mr. Kyle Hodge, and Mrs. Shelia Rogers Webster. The governor advised of the assignment of the ministerial portfolios in a press release on 4th March 2024, which was carried out in accordance with Section 27(1) of the Anguilla Constitution. Sections 27, subsection 1 of the Constitution provides that the governor, acting in accordance with the advice of the Premier, may, by directions in writing, assign to any minister responsibility for the conduct, subject to the provision of this Constitution and of any other law, of any business of the government of Anguilla, including responsibility for the administration of any department of government, provided that a minister shall not be charged with responsibility under this section for any of the matters mentioned in subsection 2A and B of the next following section, which would be Section 28. So we see that the Premier identifies her ministers to the governor, and the Premier also assigns the ministerial portfolios which the governor will accord to the ministers based on the Premier's direction. But we also note that the Constitution provides that the minister shall not be charged with responsibility for certain areas. Those areas are set out in Section 28. And Section 28 provides in part that, and I'm reading now Section 28 too, the governor shall not be obliged to consult with nor act upon the advice of the Executive Council with respect to the following. Subsection A, any matter that in her opinion relates to defense, external affairs, international financial services, or any directly related aspect of finance or internal security, including the police. Or subsection 2B, the appointment of any person to any public office, the suspension, termination of employment, dismissal, or retirement of any public officer, or taking of disciplinary action in respect of such an officer, the application to any public officer of the terms or conditions of employment of the public service for which financial provision has been made. So what this is essentially telling us is that there are two areas that a governor will not assign to a minister. And those areas have to do with defense, external affairs, internal security, and matters pertaining to the public service. We should, though, however, note that according to Section 28(2)(g)(1) of the same Constitution, in relation to matters relating to defense, external affairs, international financial services, or any directly related aspect of finance or internal security, including the police, the governor shall keep the Executive Council informed of any matters that, in her judgment, may involve the economic or financial interests of Anguilla, and shall consult with the Premier on any matter relating to internal security, including the police. So while these matters are within the remit of the governor, she is required to consult with the Premier, with the government, in relation to those matters. The increase in the number of ministers appears to have afforded greater flexibility and innovation in the assignment of ministerial portfolios. And the portfolios have been assigned as follows. The Honorable Premier, Mrs. Cora Richardson Hodge, has been assigned Finance, Labor, Immigration, Home Affairs, and Constitutional Affairs. The Honorable Minister Cardigan Connor has been assigned the Ministry of Health, Tourism, and Sports. Mrs. Shelia Rogers-Webster, she is now the Honorable Minister of Social Development, Education, Library, Youth, and Culture. The Honorable Minister of Economic Development, Industry, Commerce, Lands, Planning, Water, and Natural Resources is Mr. Kyle Hodge. And the Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Communications, Utilities, Housing, IT, and E-Government Services is Mr. Jose Vanterpool. Another post in the executive arm of government, being that of the Parliamentary Secretary, has been filled in accordance with Section 24A1 of the Anguilla Constitution. And that section provides that the governor, acting in accordance with the advice of the Premier, may appoint a parliamentary secretary from among the elected members of the Assembly. Mr. Cardell Richardson has been appointed as the Honorable Parliamentary Secretary, and he has been assigned the responsibility for infrastructure, housing, and natural resources. He will therefore be working with the Honorable Ministers, Mr. Jose Vanterpool and Mr. Kyle Hodge. With these appointments, the executive arm of government has been constituted. The governor has also, acting in accordance with Section 48(2) of the Constitution, appointed the individual who will serve as leader of the opposition in the House of Assembly. That section provides that the governor shall appoint as leader of the opposition the member of the Assembly who, in the judgment of the governor, is the leader of any opposition party whose numerical strength in the Assembly is greater than that of any opposition party. Dr. Ellis Lorenzo Webster is the leader of the APM party, which is the only party in opposition in the House of Assembly, and he has therefore been, in keeping with that section, appointed as the honorable leader of the opposition in the Anguilla House of Assembly. Now we come to today's proceedings. By proclamation dated the 5th day of March 2025, Governor Crouch summoned the 13th Anguilla House of Assembly and appointed today, Tuesday the 11th day of March at 10 o'clock in the morning at the Parliament Building in the Valley as the time and place at which the first sitting of the 13th Anguilla House of Assembly shall be held for the dispatch of public business. Today's event, the summoning of the first session of the 13th Anguilla House of Assembly, will see the constituting of the legislative arm of government, which was temporarily in abeyance. As previously referenced, Following the 2019 constitutional amendments, the House of Assembly now comprises of 11 elected members, 2 ex officio members, the Attorney General and the Deputy Governor, and the presiding speaker. The 2 nominated member posts, which existed prior to 2019, have been abolished. The House of Assembly has now grown from 11 members and the presiding speaker to 13 members and the presiding speaker. We expect that the primary outcomes of today's session will, in accordance with Anguilla's constitution, be the election of a speaker and deputy speaker and the swearing of members. And this is mandated by section 50, subsection 1, 2, and 3 of the Constitution. These sections reads as follows. Section 50, subsection 1, when the Assembly first meets after a general election or after the office of Speaker has fallen vacant, for any reason other than a dissolution of the Assembly, and before it proceeds to the dispatch of any other business, the Assembly shall elect a person to be Speaker of the Assembly. Subsection 2 provides that the Speaker shall be elected from among persons who are qualified for election to the Assembly, but who are not members of the Executive Council. That section therefore requires that a person elected to sit as Speaker must be someone who could in fact have run for elections and sought elected office as a candidate in the general election. And that person cannot be a member of Executive Council. Subsection 3 goes on to say, when the Assembly first meets after a general election and before it proceeds to the dispatch of any other business except the election of the Speaker, it shall elect a member of the Assembly other than an elected member it shall elect, I wish to give you accurate information, so let me find section 50 and read it directly from there. Section 50, subsection 2, subsection 3. Right, it says, when the Assembly first meets after a general election and before it proceeds to the dispatch of any other business except the election of the Speaker, it shall elect a deputy speaker from among the elected members of the Assembly other than a member of the Executive Council. And if the office of deputy speaker falls vacant for any other reason than the dissolution of the Assembly shall, as soon as convenient, elect another member to that office. So if we break that down, the Speaker is elected first, and then you proceed to elect a deputy speaker. And the deputy speaker is elected from among the 11 elected members of the Assembly, but it cannot be a member of the Executive Council. And the elected members who serve in the Executive Council are the 5 ministers. So it cannot be one of the 5 ministers. So based on the constitutional provision, one or more persons can be nominated to serve as Speaker, so long as they meet the qualifications to be elected to the House of Assembly. It is expected that the members of the governing party, the AUF, would have agreed among themselves who they will nominate and elect to serve as a Speaker of the Assembly for the next 5 years. The opposition APM, if they choose to nominate someone, will be doing so with the knowledge that their nominee is unlikely to be successful, as the governing party has the superior numbers in the House of Assembly. In 2021, the House of Assembly procedures rules were revised, and now they detail in Section 3 the procedure for election of the Speaker. It provides that whenever it is necessary to elect a new Speaker, the chair shall be taken by the clerk for the proceedings. So the clerk will assume the chair at the beginning of the proceedings this morning. Subsection 2, any member may nominate a person as Speaker in accordance with Section 50 of the Constitution, which I just read for you, and move that that person takes the chair of the Assembly as Speaker. It provides in subsection 3 that a nomination shall be made 3 days before a Speaker is scheduled to be elected. So that should have taken place already, the nomination. Subsection 4, where only one person is nominated, the occupant of the chair, having ascertained that the person nominated is willing to serve as Speaker, will declare that person elected as Speaker. And where more than one person is nominated, the Assembly shall elect the Speaker by secret ballot. Section 4 of the House of Assembly Procedure Rules provides for the election of a deputy speaker. And that section provides that whenever it is necessary to elect a new deputy speaker, the procedure is the same as for the election of the speaker, except that the speaker takes the chair. So the speaker having assumed the chair upon his or her election, the speaker will then sit to conduct the election of the deputy speaker. Now, in my experience serving in the House of Assembly, it has not been the practice for ex officio members to participate in the election of a speaker or deputy speaker of the House, as their election is generally seen as a political process best left to the elected members. Of course, should there be only one nomination, there will be no need for an election. As noted earlier, this deputy speaker must be selected from among elected members of the Assembly, other than a member of the Executive Council. This means that all the elected members are eligible to be elected as deputy speaker, except the Premier and her 4 ministers. While the other elected members of the AF party may attend Executive Council meetings, they are not members of Executive Council and will have no voting rights in Executive Council. It is unlikely that the governing party will elect a member of the opposition to sit as deputy speaker. So the reasonable expectation is that the deputy speaker will be chosen from among 3 honorable members of the Legislative Assembly, those persons being Mr. Evans McNeil Rogers, Mr. Carter Richardson, and Mr. Jason Bryan. We will see how matters unfold when the House of Assembly proceeds. Section 5 of the House of Assembly Procedure Rules provides that immediately after the election of the Speaker, the clerk shall administer the oath to the Speaker. So the Speaker will be immediately sworn in after his or her election. Subsection 2 provides that the Speaker shall, after taking the oath, assume the chair and preside over the election of the Deputy Speaker. Subsection 3 then provides that the Speaker shall then administer the oath to the remaining members of the Assembly. Okay, so we have the order of proceedings set out in the House of Assembly Procedure Rules, which were updated in 2021. The Speaker is elected, Speaker takes the oath, the Deputy Speaker is elected, and I would expect takes the oath, and the oath is then administered to the other members of the House of Assembly. The oath or affirmation of allegiance shall be in the form which is set out in the Constitution. And it is essential that members take the oath at this stage because Section 60 of the Constitution provides as follows. It says, except for the purpose of enabling this section to be complied with, no ex officio or elected member of the Assembly shall be permitted to take part in its proceedings until he has made before the Speaker an oath of allegiance in the form set out in the schedule to the Constitution, provided that the election of a Speaker and Deputy Speaker of the Assembly may take place before the members thereof have made such oath. So clearly, the members are required to take the oath before they can take part in the House proceedings. So it is essential that the oath is administered at that stage, and the only person who is able to be for proceedings to take place before the oath is made is the election of the Speaker and Deputy Speaker. Those two, before the members are sworn in, they can take part in their election. The oath will be administered to the members in accordance with their seniority, as is the practice in the United Kingdom's House of Commons. Now, according to Section 88 of our House of Assembly Procedure Rules, in cases where our Constitution or our rules do not provide for a practice in terms of how you carry out a particular procedure, the rules provide that you will adopt the rules in the House of Commons. So there being no procedure for the order of administration of oaths in the House of Assembly Procedure Rules here in Anguilla, the practice of the House of Commons will follow. The members will take the oath according to their seniority, and this will in some instances be determined by their office, their position, and in others by the time served as members of the House of Assembly. Once the formalities of electing a Speaker and Deputy Speaker and the swearing in of the ministers are concluded, the only other active agenda items for this morning's proceedings appear to be announcements by the direction of the Speaker a motion for consideration of the government's legislative program, statements by members, and the adjournment. The statement by members will see two honorable members of the House of Assembly, Mr. Carter Richardson and Mr. Jason Bryan, making their first address as members of the House of Assembly. Today's House of Assembly sitting marks another historic occasion in Anguilla, as this is the first convening of the House of Assembly where the Premier and leader of government business is a female. Mr. Cora Richardson's Hodges' assumption of the role of Honorable Premier has been recognized by many persons in and out of Anguilla as an historic moment for Anguilla, and she is to be congratulated on this achievement. That is what I wish to share with you at this time. I will be rejoining you at the end of the proceedings for a wrap-up. I now close in anticipation of the House of Assembly starting shortly. Thank you.
God save our gracious King, long live our King. God save the King, set him victorious, happy and glorious, long to reign over us. God save the King. God bless Anguilla, nurture and keeper, noble and beauteous she stands midst the sea. O land of the happy, a heaven will make thee. All lives and love we give unto thee. With heart and soul we'll build a nation proud, strong and free. We'll love our altar dear to our hearts for eternity. Let truth and right our banner be. We'll march ever on. Let truth and right our banner be. We'll march ever on. Mighty will make her, long may she prosper. God grant her leaders wisdom and grace. May glory and honor in her, firm shall she stand throughout every age. With heart and soul we'll build a nation proud, strong and free. We'll love her, hold her dear to our hearts for eternity. Let truth and right our banner be. We'll march ever on. Let truth and right our banner be. We'll march ever on.
Good morning to all. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we gather before you today with humble hearts, seeking your wisdom, guidance, and grace upon this government as they gather to serve the people of this great nation. We acknowledge that all authority comes from you, and we ask that you direct their thoughts, words, and their decisions, so that they may be just, fair, and pleasing in your sight. Your word reminds us in James 1:5, if any man lack wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives generously to all, finding fault, and it will be given to him. Lord, we ask for your divine wisdom upon them to guide their deliberations, to help them make decisions, promote justice, peace, and prosperity for all. We are reminded in Proverbs 11, verses 14, where there is no guidance, people fail, but in abundance of counselors, there is safety. Lord, we pray that you will help them to listen to one another with open hearts, to seek understanding, and to work together in unity for the good of Anguilla. May their actions be governed by integrity, truth, having a genuine desire to uplift our communities. Cause their leadership to be a reflection of your righteousness. As we are reminded in Micah chapter 6 and verse 8, he has shown you, O man, what is good, and what does not, and what does the Lord require, but to do justice, love, mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. We ask for your blessings upon this honorable house, our nation, our leaders, and our people. May your peace and justice prevail in all they do. We commit the sessions into your hands, trusting that you will guide this government throughout their days. Through Christ our Lord. Amen.
You may be seated. Good morning, members. Section 50 of the Anguilla Constitution Order 1982 requires that the Assembly's first order of business after a general election is to elect a speaker. It states, when the Assembly first meets after a general election or after the office of Speaker has fallen vacant for any reason other than a dissolution of the Assembly, and before it proceeds to the dispatch of any other business, the Assembly shall elect a person to be Speaker of the Assembly. The Speaker shall be elected from among persons who are qualified for election to the Assembly, but who are not members of the Executive Council. The House of Assembly Procedure Rules details the manner in which the election of the office of Speaker should take place. It states, whenever it is necessary to elect a new Speaker, the chair shall be taken by the clerk for the proceedings. Any member may nominate a person as Speaker in accordance with Section 50 of the Constitution and move that the person takes the chair of the Assembly as Speaker. A nomination referred to in Sub-Rule 2 shall be made 3 days before a Speaker is scheduled to be elected. Where only one person is nominated, the occupant of the chair, having ascertained that the person is willing to serve as Speaker, declares that that person shall be elected as Speaker. On 6 March 2025, a single nomination was received by my office for Ms. Tara Carter to serve as Speaker of the Anguilla House of Assembly. The nomination was received from the Honorable Member for Sandy Hill, the Premier, and was accompanied by a declaration from Ms. Carter of her willingness to serve. As there has been only one nomination for Speaker, and having ascertained that Ms. Carter is willing to serve as Speaker, as per Rule 3.5 of the House of Assembly Procedure Rules, I hereby declare that Ms. Tara Carter has been elected as Speaker of the Anguilla House of Assembly. I now invite Ms. Carter to take the oath of allegiance and to take the chair as Speaker of this 13th Anguilla House of Assembly.
I, Tara Carter, do swear that I will faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles III, his heirs and successors, according to law, so help me God. Thank you. Good morning. You may be seated. Honorable members of the Assembly, members of the media, distinguished guests, our past members of this Assembly, ladies and gentlemen, students, parliamentarians, good morning. It is with profound and deep humility that I accept this nomination. I welcome you to this first sitting of the 13th session of this House of Assembly. Today marks not just the beginning of a new legislative session, it also marks the renewal of our commitment to our democracy, good governance, and service to our citizenry. I'm thankful for God for bringing me in this position. I'm also thankful for family, for friends, and for my son. As we gather in this chamber, let us remember that we are here to be the representatives of the people. They have placed their trust in you. They have placed their trust so that you may articulate their concerns, defend their interests, and shape laws that will forward this country. This is your privilege and your solemn duty. Our role is fundamental to our democratic system. It is here that we debate policies. It is here that we scrutinize laws. It is here that we enact laws to govern us. And it is here that we hold the executive to account. As your Speaker, my principal duty is to uphold the norms and traditions of this House. Primarily, my duties include to ensure that the government is allowed to govern. But my duty is also to ensure that the opposition is allowed to be heard. And overall, my duty is to ensure that there is dignity in this House of Assembly. I've asked, in preparing my address, I focused on 3 points that I want us to take away. And I'm not a school teacher, but just make a note. 3 Ds: debate, democracy, and decorum. Those are the 3 Ds that we will apply. For your debate, your deliberations must be robust but constructive. This will not be a house that facilitates grandstanding nor unmerited attacks. As members of the Honorable House, we can anticipate that there will be times when there will be diverse perspectives. Diverse perspectives are healthy and they are encouraged. To the elected members of government, I urge you to always be mindful of your sacred and solemn duty, which is to the people of Anguilla. To the Honorable Opposition, your role is critical in these challenging times. And unlike the old adage, you're not here just to oppose for opposition's sake. You're here to hold the executive to account. And you're here to scrutinize matters that come before this House. These are the checks and balances we must preserve in this honorable House. And let us remember, in executing our duty, there will be moments when this nation requires us to be unified. There will be moments when both sides need to work together to forge a shared path for this country. And it is in moments such as those where the people will be the true winners. Democracy. This House will be one where democracy thrives. We are privileged to live in a free and democratic country where we still have the right to have our own views and our own voices, as long as they are in accordance with the rules and procedures of this institution. In carrying out your duties, I ask that you remember to be focused on your duty to peace, order, and good governance. Decorum, that's my 3rd D. This honorable House will be one where decency, civility, and decorum is upheld. I am confident that each of you will reflect carefully on your solemn duty each time that you assume your seat. Your constituents have placed trust in you. You must maintain decorum at all times. In this honorable House, I dare say you are not defined or classified by colors. You are now colleagues. This island needs healing, not division. And I challenge you to demonstrate the highest level of professionalism, dignity, and decorum in this House. The challenges facing our nation are great. The challenges affecting our youth, our elderly, our business community, and our communities beyond are significant, but so too are our opportunities as legislators. Through diligent work and a collaborative spirit and principled leadership, we can advance policies that promote justice, prosperity, and well-being for all of our citizens. I pledge to serve as an impartial arbiter of our proceedings and to preserve the integrity of this institution. As we embark on this journey together, let us be guided by wisdom, inspired by the highest ideals of public service, and motivated by a genuine desire to improve the lives of those we represent. I extend my congratulations to every member on both sides, but I also extend congratulations to your families, the ones that we don't see. Those are the ones that journeyed with you alongside a very, very hard role that you have undertaken. I congratulate each of your supporters for taking a stand with you. To the outgoing speaker who's present, and to each outgoing honorable member, I also take this moment to thank you for your public service to Anguilla during this period, 2020 to 2025. At this stage, I wish to declare that this 13th session of the First House of Assembly is now convened.
Election of Deputy Speaker.
On 6 March 2025, a single nomination was received by the Office of the Clerk for the Honorable Single Island-Wide Electoral District Member, Mr. Evans McNeil Rogers, to serve as Deputy Speaker. The nomination was received from the Honorable Member from Sandy Hill and was accompanied by Mr. Rogers' willingness to serve. As there has been only one nomination for Deputy Speaker, pursuant to Rule 3.5 of the House of Assembly Procedural Rules, I hereby declare that the Single Island-Wide Electoral District Member, Mr. Evans McNeil Rogers, is declared the Deputy Speaker of this House of Assembly. I therefore invite Mr. Rogers. I invite Mr. Rogers to take the oath.
I, Evans McNeil Rogers, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles III, his heirs and successors according to law, so help me God.
To our deputy elected speaker, I do know you would wish to make remarks. I will ask that you reserve those for later on in the agenda.
Oath of allegiance to new members. The honorable member for Sandy Hill.
I, Cora Richardson Hodge, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles III, his heirs and successors according to law. So help me God.
The honorable member for West End.
I, Cardigan Connor, do swear that I will faithfully and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles III, his heirs and successors, according to law. So help me God.
The Honorable Deputy Governor, acting.
I, Bonnie Richardson Lake, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles III, his heirs and successors, according to law. So help me God.
The Honorable Single Island-Wide Electoral District Member, Mr. Jose Vanterpool.
I, Jose Jude Vanderpool, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty, King Charles III, his heirs and successors, according to law. So help me God.
The Honorable Single Island-wide Electoral District Member, Mr. Kyle Hodge.
I was elected to Parliament to represent the people of Anguilla to the best of my ability. While it is a constitutional requirement to swear allegiance to His Majesty King Charles III, his heirs and successors according to law, my deepest and unwavering allegiance remains with the people of Anguilla, whom I have been democratically elected to serve. I, Kyle Hodge, do solemnly and sincerely affirm and declare that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles III, his heirs and successors according to law.
The Honorable Member for Valley North.
Right.
I, Shalia Rogers Webster, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles III, his heirs and successors according to law. So help me God.
The Honorable Attorney General.
I, Kurt De Freitas, King's Counsel, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles III, his heirs and successors, according to law. So help me God.
The Honorable Member for Island Harbor, the Leader of the Opposition.
I, Ellis Lorenzo Webster, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance. I was affirming. Yeah.
Oh,
It says swear.
okay. You can change it to a phone.
Sure. I, Ellis Lorenzo Webster, do affirm that I'll be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles III, his heirs and successors, according to law, so help me God.
Just to the Assembly, if all phones could be turned off and silent, and then also there won't be any informal recording of the proceedings as well. So all phones should be put away. Thank you.
The Honorable Member for Valley South, the Parliamentary Secretary.
I, Cardell Richardson, do swear that I will faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles III, his heirs and successors, according to law, so help me God.
The Honorable Member for Road South.
I, Hayden Hughes, do solemnly and sincerely affirm and declare that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles III, his heirs and successors, according to law. I don't know if that concludes anything. Right.
The Honorable Member for Road North.
I, Merrick Richardson, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty, King Charles III, his heirs and successors, according to law. So help me God.
The Honorable Single Island-wide Electoral District Member, Mr. Jason Bryan.
I, Jason Bryan, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles III, his heirs and successors, according to law. So help me God.
Confirmation of minutes, none. Announcements by the direction of the Speaker.
Honorable members of this assembly, by way of announcement, it is with profound regret that I formally acknowledge the tragic passing of Mr. Shamari Foy, who lost his life during an act of violence that occurred on the weekend in Anguilla. This assembly recognizes the gravity of this loss to our community and deep sorrow that it has brought to all who knew him. Such acts of violence stand contrary to our values of peace and security, which we strive to uphold every day. I hereby request that everyone in this House rises to observe a moment of silence as we pay our respects for Shamari's loss and to the loss of many others, and extend our collective condolences to the bereaved family during this period of immeasurable grief. May we stand for a moment of silence. Thank you. You may be seated. This assembly thanks you for your solemn observance, and let the record reflect that this House stands united in the mourning of the untimely departure of Mr. Shamari Foy.
Questions? None. Government statements on recent developments? None. Papers? None. Reports from committees? None. Petitions? None. Government notices? None. Private members' notices? None. Motions? Motion 1 of 2025, 1/13, HOA, consideration of government's legislative program.
I acknowledge the honorable member for Sandy Hill.
Good morning, Madam Speaker. Good morning to the members of this honorable House, persons who are here in this gallery, those viewing and watching. Madam Speaker, I beg to move that this House considers the government's legislative program.
Speaker.
Thank you. I put the question to the debate on the motion 1 of 2025. So I understand there's a second motion,
Yes.
honorable member.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the government's legislative program and the debate of the legislative program be adjourned until the next sitting of this honorable House.
Seconder.
Madam Speaker, I rise to second.
The Honorable Single Island-wide Electoral District Member, Mr. Hodge, seconds the motion. I put the question that the motion is the debate of the consideration of the government's legislative program be adjourned until the next meeting. All those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it. And it is read, debate on motion 1 of 2025, the first of the 13th sitting, consideration of the government's legislative program has been adjourned until the next meeting of this House.
Personal explanations? None. Other business? Private members' bills? None. Private bills? None. Other orders of the day? Statements by members?
Before we invite members to make brief statements, I wish at this point to acknowledge the attendance of our Honorable Justice Ermine Moyes, the Justice of our High Court, Mr. Keithley Benjamin, Senior Magistrate, Ms. Renee Joseph, Magistrate. I acknowledge members from the clergy, Pastor Philip Gomes, Reverend Canon Reed Simon. I also acknowledge our past parliamentarians, Mr. Osborne Fleming, Mr. Victor Banks, Mr. Kenneth Harrigan. I acknowledge, as I did earlier, our former speaker, Mrs. Barbara Webster Bourne. And forgive me if I haven't, and Mr. Jerome Roberts. Mrs. Everly Bradley. Thank you, honorable members. At this point, I am inviting the members to make brief addresses to the Assembly. In accordance with the rules, I'm supposed to seek their consent to my time limits. The time limits I propose is 7 minutes for the leader of each side and 5 minutes for all other members to make a brief address to the Assembly. If the members consent to those time limits, say aye. Very grateful. So if you wish to make an address in accordance with the rules, you will indicate to the bench and I will acknowledge you accordingly. The member from Sandy Hill, I acknowledge the honorable member, Ms. Cora Richardson Hodge.
Good morning again, Madam Speaker. I adopt the protocol already established, and let me also welcome and acknowledge the presence of members of the Youth Parliament. Madam Speaker, I wish to first congratulate you on your appointment as Speaker of this honorable House. This sacred position has been entrusted to you, and I have no doubt that you will bring the grace, fairness, and balance that this House so desperately needs. Madam Speaker, today we stand at the precipice of a new era under the banner of the Anguilla United Front. This historic moment marks not just a change in governance, but an opportunity for renewal, collaboration, and growth for our beloved island. I, above all, give God all the thanks and praise for bringing us safely thus far, and I know He will lead us on. We have just emerged from a free and fair election, and the will of the Anguillan people have spoken. The outcome of this general election is a testament to people power, that in the face of adversity, threats, intimidation, trickery, the people came out and soundly chose who they want to lead Anguilla for the next 5 years. To each of you who exercised your God-given right to vote, your voices have been heard. You cried out for real change, for stability, for decency, for respect, patience, kindness, love, understanding, and prosperity. And now you have all that and more with this 8-member strong Anguilla United Front administration. We are here for you and because of you. Your trust, support, and confidence in electing us is a testament to the spirit of our community and your desire for progress. I stand here today not just as a leader, but as your servant, committed to carrying your hopes and aspirations with me as we move forward together. I reaffirm my pledge to you, the people of Anguilla, to work to improve the standard of living for our people, to allow our people's voices to be heard, and to continue building an Anguilla of which our people at home and in the diaspora can feel proud. I commit to serving with integrity, honesty, and with the highest ethical standards. To the residents of District 2, the members of my cell group, my supporters, family, and friends, I say thank you for always believing in me, carrying me, and holding my feet to the fire just to ensure I remain grounded. A very special thank you to my husband and my 2 daughters, who have remained by my side over the last 15 years of my political career. I want to also especially recognize my dad and my 2 uncles who are here today. Thank you so very much for your support. It is both an honor and a profound privilege to now stand before you as the Premier of this beautiful island, a role that comes with great responsibility, which I do not take lightly, especially as I represent Anguilla as its first female Premier. I would like to take a moment to thank the outgoing Premier, now the Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Mr. Ellis Lorenzo Webster, and his government. Over the past 5 years, they have contributed to the development of Anguilla, and for that we are grateful. And as we look forward, my government is committed to building on the achievements of previous administrations. We acknowledge the milestones reached and recognize the challenges that remain. Our goal is to foster an environment of inclusivity, innovation, and shared responsibility as we work together to propel Anguilla into a prosperous future. I wish to express my admiration and affection for every elected member of government. They are all hard workers, and their hearts are in the right place. I have no doubt they will work hard to represent you, the people, and deliver an Anguilla we all dream of. And so I thank each and every one of them for taking up this tremendous responsibility. Thank you. By now, many of you have seen and heard of our Anguilla United Front People Plan, We have been steadfast in our vision to create a society that is inclusive, sustainable, and thriving. And at the core of our People First agenda is the belief that every Anguillian, regardless of age, deserves an opportunity to succeed. This framework is not just about policies, it is about changing lives. It is about nurturing a society where every individual can feel valued, informed, and empowered. Our primary goals include economic diversification. We recognize the need to move beyond traditional industries, and by investing in areas such as renewable energy, technology, and agriculture, we can create a more resilient economy that offers opportunities for all. Our youth are not just the leaders of tomorrow. They are valuable contributors to our present and the architects of our future. They are innovators, dreamers, and change makers. However, for them to flourish, we must prioritize their needs and aspirations. This is why our People First agenda places youth at the forefront, ensuring they have the tools, resources, and support necessary to succeed. We will establish initiatives that support young entrepreneurs in their business endeavors by providing mentorship programs, access to funding, and training in business development. We aim to foster a generation of entrepreneurs who can create jobs and drive economic growth in Anguilla. Quality education and healthcare are fundamental rights. We will advocate for a modernized education system that responds to the changing needs of our economy. This includes partnerships with businesses to offer internships, apprenticeships, and vocational training programs that provide real-world skills. Our goal is to equip our young people with the knowledge and experience they need to navigate the workforce confidently. We pledge to improve educational facilities and transform our healthcare services into institutions of which we can be proud. Our natural environment is our most valuable asset. Together, we will champion sustainable practices to protect our ecosystems while promoting responsible tourism and development. This includes moving aggressively to support ANGLEC and its renewable energy integration, which will translate to cost savings for our people. In terms of community engagement, governance is not just for the appointed, it is for every Anguillian. And we will establish regular forums for community feedback and consultation, ensuring that your voices guide our decisions. And to achieve these ambitious objectives, unity is essential. We must come together, government officials, business leaders, civil society, and most importantly, the people of Anguilla. And I call upon each member of this assembly, every constituency, and every citizen to engage in this process with enthusiasm. It is time to transcend political divides and collaborate for the greater good. Let us focus on what binds us together, our love for Anguilla and our commitment to a brighter future for our families and our children. And as we embark on this journey, I urge each one of you to join us in embracing this People First agenda. Each one of us plays a vital role in shaping the future of Anguilla. Let us work side by side as partners in progress as we reclaim our narrative and craft a legacy that future generations will be proud of. Together, we will continue to build a vibrant and resilient Anguilla. Thank you. May God bless you. May God bless you.
Thank you, Honorable Member for Sandy Hill. Honorable Member for West End. Before you proceed, however, I wanted to acknowledge one of our former chaplains. I missed him before, Mr. Clive Smith. Welcome to the Assembly today. You may proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Good morning to my colleagues, to the members of the gallery, to Anguillians home and abroad, friends of Anguilla. It is my profound honor and humbling privilege to proudly stand before you as for the third consecutive term as elected member for District 7 West End, and now the Minister of Health, Tourism and Sports. Madam Speaker, over the past 2 terms in politics, I have developed a great sense of gratitude for the trust of the Anguillan public, and I look forward to serving the Anguillan public again in this new mandated government. This is not a responsibility I have ever or will ever take lightly. As I look ahead to my turn at bat, and that's a quote, I will continue to carry out my duty on behalf of the Anguillan people and make good on this government's promise of putting people first. Speaking for myself and my fellow incumbent colleagues, we are ready to work with you to realize the best version of Anguilla, the Anguilla we believe in, with exacting accountability to you, the people, and a sense of reinvigorated efficiency. We now further the mission to build a more united, secure, and prosperous Anguilla. With hard work and cooperation across all levels of government, and with our valued industry partners, we have much to look forward to. We are committed to an aspirational vision of health in this nation, fostering a deep sense of community and a greater awareness of the importance of physical activity and mental health through many initiatives that have connected Anguillans through the power of sports. Of course, much more remains achievable. Just over the horizon, Madam Speaker, I step into this role at a time of great optimism in Anguilla, where this new government can harness the palpable feeling of national excitement and forge a brighter future for our nation. I ask for your indulgence. Allow me to convey a few specific acknowledgements as we approach the precipice of this great and compelling change. To the Honorable Premier, Mrs. Cora Richardson Hodge, I want to thank you for the incredible honor of this appointment and the opportunity to serve the people of Anguilla once again. The elation at your own achievement, both on this island and far beyond, is extremely well-deserved. I feel extremely confident that under your guidance and leadership, Anguilla's greatest days are yet to come. To my incumbent colleagues, I congratulate you all on your appointments and look forward to working closely with you on behalf of our constituents. To our partners in Anguilla's tourism, hospitality, sports, and healthcare industries, your daily hard work keeps Anguilla profitable, beautiful, and healthy. Thank you for all you do and for your warm embrace of this incoming administration and our collaborative future. On a personal level, I want to acknowledge and thank my late mentor, the great Albert Belter Hughes. Though I miss him more with each passing year, he's never far from my mind, be it racing against the wind aboard the Light and Peace, and that's an appropriate name, Light and Peace. His legacy of service and selflessness will continue to inspire and drive me to be the best minister and the best Anguillan I can be. Most importantly, I want to recognize and thank once again for the third consecutive election cycle my constituents of District 7, whether they be home or abroad, and by extension, the people of Anguilla. I often refer to my AUF family, but on a whole, the family of Anguillians. for the faith and confidence that you continue to show in me. I will carry everything, your hopes, your needs, your dreams with me into this term. Now as minister, and again, I will work tirelessly to propel Anguilla forward into the bright new chapter. We are all proud to be Anguillians, whether you're here or anywhere around the world. Now, with the grace and humility, we, the incumbent members, invite all Anguillians to join us in making Anguilla proud of us. If anyone is asking where's Cardi, he's in the Anguilla House of Assembly. May the Lord bless you and keep you. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member from West End. I invite the Honorable Member from Road North, Valley North. Valley North.
Honorable Speaker, distinguished colleagues, constituents, my fellow Anguillians and residents. First and foremost, I wish to begin by thanking God for the privilege of standing before you here today, for the opportunity to serve and represent the wonderful people of Valley North once again. His grace and guidance have brought me this far, and I remain deeply grateful for his unwavering presence in my life. In 2022, 632 constituents took a chance on me, placing their trust in me, and I will forever be thankful for the faith that they showed in my ability to serve. Every single one of you has played an integral role in shaping the future of Valley North, and I consider it a tremendous honor to be given the opportunity once again. I have been truly blessed to inherit the best possible team, my cell team, the ones who have supported me through every high and low in this journey of politics. You have been my backbone. Their tireless dedication and commitment and belief in our shared vision to make a difference for all has truly been incredible, and I am forever grateful. This 2025 election was dedicated to the late Vernal Wunchi Richardson, a man who taught me more about the science of politics and the true essence of service, more so than my political science degree. His wisdom, his deep commitment to the people, and his humility remain a guiding light in my life. It is only fitting that I dedicate this year's 919 win to him. To Vernal, we owe you so much, and his legacy lives on in our lives forever. To every single constituent who has supported me, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your trust is not something that I take lightly. I am committed to serving you with honesty, with respect, and with dignity. I will always be open and transparent with my actions and steadfast in remembering that the power of the people will always outweigh the people in power. We have only been in office for a few days, but even in this brief time, it is clear that there are many projects underway that have lacked proper due process, accountability, and transparency. This has resulted in costs far greater than the taxpayers were led to believe. We intend to fully update the public on these developments. Promises were made to our cultural practitioners that were not fulfilled. But I am proud to say that we will be addressing these outstanding payments to the junior Calypsonians and troops next week. As we prepare for Summer Festival 51, it is vital that we leave the baggage of the past behind. Last year's celebrations were truly unique and special, and it is only right that we turn over a new leaf toward the future. Over the next 30 to 60 days, I will be thoroughly reviewing all the existing projects and programs within my ministry and the departments. I will be meeting with the stakeholders, both large and small, to listen to their perspectives, understand their challenges, and hear their hopes for the future. Between 60 to 90 days, we expect to be well positioned to deliver on our People First agenda for Anguilla, with the collaboration of the dedicated public servants who work day in and day out for the betterment of Anguilla. I also want to take this opportunity to thank my permanent secretary, Dr. Bonnie Richardson-Lake, for her smooth transition, and the Ministry of Home Affairs for their staff for making me feel right at home in my new office space that's actually based over there. Their professionalism and their support has been invaluable. To my family, I owe you so much. My husband, Rudy Webster, thank you. Your support, both on the campaign trail and our home, has been immeasurable. Raising a family while navigating the complexities of politics is no easy feat, and I am so grateful that you continue to stand in the gap for our son Razik on many days when I am unable to. To my mother, Annette Carty, my grandmother, Clarice Carty, my cousin, Vidya Harrigan, my sister, my aunts, uncles, cousins, my mother and father-in-law, my sisters-in-law, and my friends, thank you for your love, encouragement, and unwavering belief in me. Your support is the foundation on which I stand. As I stand here today, I am reminded of the immense responsibility entrusted in me. But more importantly, I am filled with hope and excitement for the work ahead. Together, with your support, we will build a future for Valley North and Anguilla that is rooted in respect, accountability, and progress. Thank you again for your trust, and I look forward to serving you, Valley North, with all my heart. May God bless you, may God bless Valley North, and may God bless Anguilla. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member from Valley North. I acknowledge the Honorable Member, Single Island Wide Electoral District Member, Mr. Jose Vanterpool.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and good morning, and congratulations to you. Good morning to my colleagues on both sides of the aisle, the parliamentary staff, to all Anguillians present in the gallery, the supporters, the family members, the loved ones, the well-wishers, and to all Anguillians who are listening, whether virtually or via radio. I want to start off by saying a deep and sincere thank you to all of you for not only coming out when elections were called and following your constitutional right and exercising your right through the vote, but for once again demonstrating that you believe that I have the ability and your confidence in me to be able to leave and to serve this country. I am committed not only to putting people first as I serve along with the Honorable Premier and this administration, but to ensuring that I make you all proud, that you don't feel like your vote was wasted. Now that elections have come and they have gone, I want to beg, I'm not going to just ask, I want to beg persons across all political divides to put the colors aside. It is no longer Team AUF, it is no longer Team APM, it is no longer the independents. It is Team Anguilla going forward. We would have seen in the past few days, and my sincere condolences goes out to the family of Shamari Foy, as well as to all who mourn his passing, that our country now more than ever needs unity. It needs us to come together. And if we're talking about setting examples for the youth of Anguilla, it starts with the leaders of Anguilla. So I would like to see political maturity and a coming together of all persons across political divides for the sake of our country. Thank you. I want to say a special good morning and thank you to two persons in the gallery who I'd like to single out. being my mother and my father. I'm sure that when I started this journey on earth 30 years ago, along with both of you, we did hope and anticipate that bright things would have been in store, but I'm sure none of us would have anticipated that this is where the road would have led today. I promise to continue to lead and to continue to serve in a manner that will make you proud and in the manner in which you taught and raised me. I would like to thank God because aside from my parents, it's only with God alone who has guided our steps, who can have led us to where we are today.
Thank you.
They say that man plans and God laughs because I never anticipated a journey in politics. Even when I reminisce to 2020, sitting in opposition, I never thought then that I would have served in opposition, though I thought I was ready to serve. Upon reflection, you realize that divine timing is something not to be messed with. Because while it was time for me to serve in opposition in 2020, I can see the growth, the preparedness, the experiences, the ability to go out and speak and connect with my people that today has equipped me to be even more prepared, even more equipped, and even more ready and committed to serve you, the people of Anguilla. So I would like to congratulate the Honorable Premier, Anguilla's first female Premier, not only for having achieved that distinction, but for her hard work in putting together a team that is well-rounded, that is qualified, and that is diverse. One where we don't necessarily all have to think along the same lines, but one where we will come together and think of a solution in the best interest of the people of Anguilla. A team that I am proud to be a part of and a team I'm proud to serve with. In closing, I want to say a sincere thank you once again to the people who elected me to serve here. And to those who may not have voted for me, I still thank you and I promise to serve you with equal respect and dignity. I also would like to say thank you to the team and at the Ministry of Infrastructure and all of its supporting departments for the warm welcome and embrace received when there for both myself and the Parliamentary Secretary. And I just want to say before we fully put the colors away, don't forget to come out and support our young people tomorrow at the Sports Day because always remember that pink is power. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. I acknowledge the Island-wide member, Mr. Kyle Hodge.
Madam Speaker, good morning. I adopt the protocol already established. Good morning to the House. Good morning to my comrades. And good morning to the people of Anguilla. I want to thank God for his never-ending mercies and for his grace. I also wanted to pause for a moment of silence for Mr. Shamari Foy, but you would have made it a priority in the order of business today. And we appreciate that, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I stand before you humbled and deeply grateful for the trust the people of Anguilla have placed in me once again. To my supporters, my voters, the ones who went to the ballot box and shaded that little small circle next to my name, 4,002 of you, I thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your belief in me, your faith in our vision, and your unwavering commitment have made this possible. To my immediate family, the ones who sacrificed the most, my wife and my children, the ones who shared in the pain, be it financial, emotional, or otherwise, thank you, and I love you. People of Anguilla, my gratitude doesn't stop there, because this victory is not just for those who supported me, it's for all of us here in Anguilla. Every 5 years as politicians, our fate lies in your hands. You, the people, through your votes, decide whether an administration remains or changes. And this election, you wanted something different. We have been given a mandate of 8 seats out of 11, and we are now charged to lead with humility, openness, transparency, and respect. Elections can be brutal. Elections can divide us, but leadership must unite us. Today, we close the election chapter and we go to the chapter of governing, of unifying, of loving, and caring for one another. In this election, we made history. We have a woman as our first female premier. A woman of great poise, wisdom beyond her years, a woman of great intellect and patience, a steady hand, a very calculated but compassionate woman. We are blessed to have Honorable Cora Richardson Hodge as Premier of Anguilla. Anguillians, we move forward not as separate groups, but as one people, bound by our love for this island and our shared desire to see the people prosper. My promise to you is simple. I will serve with integrity, with fairness, and with a deep conviction and commitment to the well-being of every Anguillian, regardless of political affiliation. The work ahead is great, but together we will build a stronger, more united Anguilla. An Anguilla where opportunity is within reach for all, where fairness and justice prevail, and where our people, our greatest treasure, are always put first. My first few days in office have been enjoyable, but the task ahead is not an easy one as we navigate global political pressures. Trade wars are threatening the affordability of food. Pressure on our fellow independent Caribbean brothers and sisters to choose between Cuba or America is growing. Gun violence is ravaging our neighborhoods and taking the lives of our family members. In all these challenges and trials, we lean on God to help this nation. Through him, all things are possible. Madam Speaker, I have been granted the opportunity to lead the Ministry of Economic Development, Physical Planning, Lands, Health Protection, Water, and Natural Resources. When I look at these ministries, especially water and health protection, a famous meme comes to mind. The humorous meme where the African man says, "I don't want peace, I want problems always." I mean, who would willingly take on water? Who would willingly address the many issues in public health? Only someone who wants problems. But Madam Speaker, I don't look for what is easy to fix. I look for what needs fixing. And together as a team, with God's help, we will overcome the challenges. Together with God's help, we will overcome the challenges of water, the challenges at Carito, and the many global issues that may confront us. Through you, Madam Speaker, I say to Anguillians, let us carry on with peace, with love and respect. Let us heal, let us build, let us rise. Let us pray for the government. Let us pray for the opposition. Let us pray for Anguilla and its people. Thank you, and may God bless you.
God bless Thank you, Honorable Member. Are there any other addresses? I recognize the single island-wide electoral district member, Mr. Jason Bryan.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would like to adopt the protocol already established and say good morning to everyone in the gallery, the honorable former members. It is with great humility and gratitude that I stand before you today as a single island-wide representative, entrusted with the responsibility to represent the people of Anguilla. I would like to take a moment to extend my gratitude to the 3,363 voters that placed their trust in me and believed in me for the first time to represent the country. I would also like to take a moment to congratulate all the candidates that contested the past general elections. I'd also like to take a moment to extend special thank you to the general public for going out and exercising their right to vote. Madam Speaker, today marks not only a personal milestone, but an historic moment in Anguilla. As the first Dominicano Anguillan elected to this honorable post, my journey reflects the rich diversity of our island and the unity that binds us together. This moment is a testament of the strength of inclusion, representation, and the belief that every individual, regardless of their background, has a place in shaping the future of Anguilla.
Thank you.
I am committed to using my voice and platform to advocate, serve, and to drive sustainable development for every single one in Anguilla. My vision as a legislator is clear: to work towards a stronger, more inclusive, and a more prosperous Anguilla by putting the people first. Madam Speaker, the responsibility we hold as elected officials is not about personal ambitions. It's about collective development. And yes, we may have different perspectives and different ways of doing things, but we have a common goal. It's the advancement and the growth of Anguilla and its people.
Right.
And today I stand here as a product of opportunity, perseverance, and the belief that service is the highest calling. And I am ready to serve with every honorable member of this House to ensure that the policies and programs we put forward truly benefit the people of Anguilla. So, may this be the beginning of a new era of development, of a new era where we close the doors to division, we come together united and work towards the biggest vision, which is the development of the people and Anguilla on a whole. May God bless this honorable House, our beloved Anguilla. Thank you very much.
Thank you, honorable member. I recognize the honorable member from Valley South.
Good morning, Madam Speaker. I rise today with a heart full of gratitude and profound humility, giving God thanks for his guidance and strength in this journey. Madam Speaker, I want to first say congratulations on your appointment to this esteemed role. Your leadership and dedication will be vital as we work toward together to shape policies and uplift our people. I am confident, and under your guidance, this honorable House will once again uphold the principles of fairness, integrity, and progress for all Anguillians. Today marks not my personal triumph, but a collective victory of many. I must first acknowledge my beloved family, my mother, whose unwavering faith and strength have been my lifelong anchor. My siblings, who set aside their own pursuits to stand with me throughout this journey. Thank you. From the bottom of my heart, I know my father would be proud to see this day, and I honor his legacy with each step I take in these halls. To my campaign team, whose dedication and perseverance carried this effort through long days and long nights, I am forever grateful. You connected with voters in every corner of our district, ensuring that our message of putting people first resonated with the community of District 4. To every constituent who welcomed me into their homes, shared their aspirations, and entrusted me with their vote, 951. I stand here as your voice, your servant, your unwavering representative. To those who did not support me, I know that trust is earned through action. I extend my hand to you, hoping my service speaks louder than words. My duty is to all, and I'll walk each day to build a future rooted in unity, respect, and progress for all Anguillians. Madam Speaker, I am keenly aware that my presence in this honorable House is not on my own strength, but by divine guidance. It is my sacred responsibility that I approach with reverence and deep commitment. To the people of District 4, you have entrusted me with something precious, their aspirations for a better future. They are resilient, determined, and hopeful. For too long, many have felt disconnected from the decisions made in this chamber. Today, that changes. Today, their voices will be heard. Madam Speaker, I am committed to 3 priorities. First, infrastructure that serves the people, not just as projects, but as pathways to opportunities for all. Roads, facilities, and essential systems must uplift communities and improve their daily lives. Second, strengthen agriculture to empower farmers, reduce reliance on imports, and ensure food security for generations to come. Our lands hold great potential, and we must cultivate it wisely. Third, unlocking the full potential of our blue economy, harnessing our ocean resources responsible to drive economic growth, create jobs, and protect our marine environment for the future. Madam Speaker, our nation faces challenges that transcend political boundaries. I believe deeply in the power of unity over division, of collaboration over conflict, and a shared purpose over individual ambition. Our people expect and deserve representatives who can work together toward common goals despite differing perspectives. However, let me be clear. My primary allegiance is to the people of District 4 and all of Anguilla who have placed their trust in me. I will champion their cause with an unwavering dedication. Their concerns will be my concerns, their priorities, my priorities, their dreams, my mission. To the people of District 4, I hear you, I see you, and thanks for the opportunity to serve in this honorable house.
Thank you, Honorable Member. I acknowledge the Honorable Member for Road North.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Good morning to everyone joining us. I hope to see your smiling faces here a lot more than just this one day. Madam Speaker, let me start by congratulating you on your new position. Congratulations to you. Madam Premier, congratulations to you as well. This is a house of many firsts. So to the Honorable Single Island Wide Member, Jason, I congratulate you on being the first Dominicano Anguillan to be elected to this honorable house. Madam Speaker, thanks must go to God first and foremost for me being here today. And that is not just saying it because it's words to say, but that is saying it because I truly believe it's by God's presence that I am here. And I must say, thanks be to him. I also now will go back and say congratulations to the Honorable Deputy Speaker on his role as he just walked back in. Congratulations to him. As someone who held that role formerly, it's a role that's often overlooked, but it's really, really important to this house. So congratulations to you, sir. And continue with my thanks. I give thanks to the 696 persons who came out in Road North to cast their vote through rain and sun for the 3 candidates who were vying for office that day. And I give a special thanks to the 339 persons who saw fit to vote for me and get me a second time elected into this honorable house. I am truly humbled and honored by that faith and that trust that has been placed in me. Shall I pass? Yeah, I am truly honored by that trust and faith that has been placed in me to garner a second term in this honorable house, Madam Speaker. And again, to the people of Road North, the residents of Road North, I humbly thank you for that trust. Madam Speaker, I'm particularly honored to stand on the shoulders of those who have held this honorable position before me, persons like Sir Emil Gomes, Mr. Edison Beard, and Honorable Mommy, Mrs. Everly Bradley. I hope and pray to continue the work that they have set forth before me. I've said on numerous occasions, Madam Speaker, that other than being a husband and a father, the biggest, greatest joy in my life has been a member of this honorable house and a representative for Road North, a position I have taken to my heart, Madam Speaker. I go to bed with it every night. I wake up with it every morning, as I'm the representative for the people of Road North and, by extension, the people of Anguilla. Madam Speaker, from walking barefoot down to Pavey Hubert in North Hill to playing in the big yard, to walking through these honorable doors in July 2020, I am who I am because of the people of Road North, and most notably, the people of District 5 and North Hill. And I am so humbled, Madam Speaker, to be carrying that hat as the caretaker of that district. Madam Speaker, earlier this week, I was reminded of Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verses 1 to 3, and I'll read verse 1. To everything there's a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven, And verse 8 reads, "A time to love and a time to hate, and a time of war and a time of peace." Madam Speaker, we are coming out of a brutal election cycle, Madam Speaker, and there is need for peace. Madam Speaker, this country we call Anguilla does not belong to any one person. It belongs to all of us. But Madam Speaker, I'm also reminded that even in times of peace, if there are wrongs, they need to be called out, Madam Speaker, and they need to be highlighted. So, Madam Speaker, as I said, elections are over. The war continues. Great work has already been accomplished in the last 4.5 years, Madam Speaker. There's a new administration in place, and we would expect for this new administration to continue building on that great work, Madam Speaker. And we, the members of this loyal opposition, Madam Speaker, we have a job to do. It is not just to oppose for opposing's sake, Madam Speaker, but to ensure that that great work that was started, Madam Speaker, that it continues, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member from Road North. I recognize the Honorable Member for Road South.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. And first, I would like to congratulate you on your elevation to this Honorable House and also as the Speaker of this House. The second selected or elected member, Speaker of the House, female Speaker of the House. I would also like to thank God for his mercies and for allowing all of us to be here today.
Thank you.
And to those of you that are here in the gallery, it's good to see so many persons here today, and I wish that as we continue to deliberate over the next 5 years, that you will be in attendance, at least most of you will be in attendance to hear the deliberations. But be that as it may, we know we have modern technology, and those that are not here can watch via the various live streams, and to those of you that are listening via the various live streams, welcome to this first sitting of Parliament under our first female Premier, Ms. Cora Richardson-Hodge. Honorable Cora Richardson. I would also like to congratulate all of those who have won in the last general elections, and those persons who believe they have lost, they have not lost. You know, in every competition, there must be someone who must be victor. And I recognize the Honorable Victor Banks in the chambers. But to those of you that were not successful, you will play a role as well. I also want to congratulate Mr. Jason Bryan, the first Dominicano Anguillian to be elected in this honorable house. And it brings me a sense of joy to see him being elected to this house, because many years ago, and the history will bear this out, when the first Anguillian Dominicanos traveled back home to Anguilla, they were vigorously pursued by immigration. And many days and nights, many of those Dominicanos who are still here in Anguilla now slept in my father's house as my father hid them from immigration. Some of them displacing Brian, Greg, and myself from our beds. And sometimes we had to sleep on the floor as they hid. So it's great to see that we have come to this point where we have someone from that heritage being elected to this honorable house.
Thank you.
I would also like to thank my children, Jafari, Amari, my daughter in particular, Desara Amachi, and my son, Tay Leol, for their patience during the election campaign, because during campaigns, as Mr. Cardell Richardson rightfully said, the Honorable Cardell Richardson rightfully said, Madam Speaker, you are taken away from your families quite a bit, and that time is spent out there with your constituents. So I want to thank them for their patience, but I'm making up the time now. And I feel good to be on this side of the political divide. I feel very good because many of you may not know my father was the Honorable Hubert Benjamin Hughes, who in 1976 became the lone member of the opposition. And for many of his years, he spent on this side of the political divide. As a matter of fact, from 1976 to 1977, from 1981, he lost in 1981, he came back in 1984, and from 1984 to 1994, he spent in opposition. And again, from 2000 to 2010, he spent in opposition. So you can safely say the majority of his elected political life he spent on this side of the political divide. Who knows? The majority of my elected political life may also be on this side of the political divide. We just don't know what the future holds. But I also had the opportunity to serve on that side of the political divide. And during my time serving from 2010 to 2015, I served as the Parliamentary Secretary of Tourism. And in 2020, 727 persons voted for me in the election, and I became the Minister of Infrastructure and Tourism. And I don't need to speak about my record, but my record speaks for itself. And in this election, I want to also thank the 792 persons who came out and voted, returned me back to the Parliament. And so I want to sincerely thank you from the bottom of my heart for re-electing me back to this honorable Parliament. I also want to thank myself. You have been with me for now 3 elections, and there's no doubt that without your organization, without your tenacity, without your vigilance and diligence, I could not be standing here today. So there are so many that we would like to thank. But in the interest of time, I will sit at this time, because there'll be many times where we will have the opportunity to deliberate for more than 5 minutes. And I recognize that some persons went over 5 minutes, and I want to yield my time to them. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, honorable member. And I did give some latitude, honorable member, so if you recognize I didn't stop anyone on this occasion, but in the spirit of levity, following from the member, the one observation I have from this now bench is that there's no clock in here. And that is the first matter of business that I'll ask the clerk to do, to install a clock right up there, so everybody can see it. Now I realize what the problem has been. I recognize the honorable member from Island Harbor, Honorable Member Webster.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and good morning. Good morning to the members of this honorable House, the clerk, the staff, those in the gallery, and all who are listening and watching this opening session of the House. I'd like to acknowledge the former members of this honorable House who are in the gallery, including the past chief ministers, premier, and the former Speaker of the House. Madam Speaker, permit me to congratulate you on your selection for this role. It is indeed an honor. And I wish to congratulate all the members of this House, those who were here before and those who are here now. We are here to collectively represent the people of Anguilla. I'd like to congratulate the member for Sand Hill as the Honorable Premier, Ms. Cora Richardson Hodge. Madam Speaker, I wish to thank God for his mercies and sustaining us. We'd like to thank the people of District 1 for their overwhelming support and continued inspiration. I am here to ensure their empowerment and that their voices are heard. It is indeed an honor to represent the people of District 1 and the people of Anguilla. I wish to thank my family members, those immediate and extended. I carry on their legacy. On behalf of the Anguilla Progressive Movement, I wish to thank the people of Anguilla for their support, votes, and encouragement. It is an honor to serve, as in the words of our alma mater, which was the Valley Secondary School, now the Albina Lake Hodge Comprehensive School. and we pledge to represent the people of Anguilla and continue to advocate on their behalf. We are determined to fight for you in the House of Assembly to ensure that the progress made by Quincy Gums Marie in agriculture, fisheries, food security, the blue economy, and the environment, Deanne Kentish-Rogers in education, sports, youth empowerment, and culture, and Kenneth Hodge in private pensions, minimum wage, labor, immigration, and increased Anguillian dignity is not slowed but continued. They will continue to work even though not in this House of Assembly. We can assure you that Lennox Vanderpool, Courtney Morton, Jamie Hodge, Gleneva Hodge, and Arthur Vanderpool will continue to work for you, the people of Anguilla, and advance causes which benefit Anguilla and the people of Anguilla. Madam Speaker, the Anguilla United Front administration must assure the people of Anguilla that they will continue Senior Shield, Junior Shield, and dialysis care, that they will continue the recommendations of the Education Task Force, continue to provide scholarships, build the TVET Center, continue the airport development and runway extension, continue the preparations for the athletic track, continue the James Ronald Webster Park enhancements for cricket and other sports, and build the new administrative complex. The people of District 1, Madam Speaker, are keen to know that the Vivian Vanderpool Primary School classroom blocks will be completed. The buildings on the pond will be renovated to house a community center, maritime museum, and arts and crafts center as planned, and that the government would facilitate the boardwalk in Island Harbor to be built by the Savannah Bay developers. Madam Speaker, the opposition members eagerly await the legislative agenda and priorities of this administration. We will not oppose just to oppose, but will be vigilant as we stand in the gap for the people. Consumer protection and price control are urgent needs for the people of Anguilla. Public procurement and contract administration amendments, the Festival Commission Act, Immigration and Passport Reform, Labor Relations Act amendments, Tobacco Controlled Health Professions Act, Financial Administration and Audit Act amendments are necessary for greater accountability and penalties for misappropriation of funds and funds being unaccounted for. Madam Speaker, this leads me to the role of the Public Accounts Committee, a standing committee of this House of Assembly, which is chaired by the opposition and is responsible for overseeing government expenditures and ensuring that they are effective, honest, transparent, accountable, and there is good value for money. The rules of this House of Assembly, listed in this booklet, which is given to all members, describes the duties and powers of the PAC to ascertain that the authorized expenditure during each financial year has been applied to the purposes prescribed by the Assembly, and to scrutinize the causes which may have led to any excess of authorized expenditure, and to verify applications of savings on other authorized items of expenditure. Madam Speaker, unlike in 2020 when the APM came into office and there was no money in the Treasury, unpaid bills and obligations of $23 million, debt of $494 million, and no reserves, this Anguilla United Front administration has met an operating balance of $44.5 million. That is money in the Treasury, debt less than $330 million, and reserves of $263.7 million. That is due to the work of the APM administration, Madam Speaker. Say yes to progress. Madam Speaker, the people are expecting prudent...
Gallery, if you just could be quiet, please. Thank you. Proceed, member.
Madam Speaker, the people are expecting prudent fiscal management. And this loyal opposition is here to oversee and keep the feet of the administration to the fire. Madam Speaker, may God continue to bless you, bless this honorable House, bless the people of Anguilla, and continue to bless Anguilla. Thank you.
Thank you, honorable member. I recognize the single island-wide electoral district member, Mr. Evans McNeil Rogers.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. And Madam Speaker, I would like to acknowledge the presence of my former colleagues in this honorable House. It was 20 years ago that I entered this House as a rookie and was guided by Mr. Osborne Fleming, Mr. Victor Banks, and Mr. Kenneth Harrigan. So I want to point them out and give homage to them for the work that they were doing. To God be the glory, Madam Speaker.
Amen.
Great things he has done and great things he will continue to do if we put our faith and trust in him.
Amen. Thank you.
Madam Speaker, as the great-grandfather of this honorable House, I want to take this opportunity not only to extend congratulatory and welcoming remarks in this House to you, because I think it is appropriate, as being the great-grandfather of this House, to do that. I want to congratulate you on your assumption to the speakership and would want to welcome you to this honorable House. Madam Speaker, you would have heard from various speakers indirectly of what I would call the sacrifices to be in this honorable House, from family, from friends, and so on. And I want to place on record, Madam Speaker, my profound gratitude and thanks to my honorable wife, Mrs. Christina Rogers, and my children, who would have supported me even in times of emergencies, to return to Anguilla. I want to place that on record, Madam Speaker. My immediate and my extended family, and to thank them for the sacrifices that they would have endured during my political career. Madam Speaker, Galatians 6:9. Favorite verse of my dear and departed father. And it said, "Let us not become weary of doing good. For at the proper time, we will reap the harvest if we do not give up."
Thank you. God bless you.
And we cannot give up on Anguilla, Madam Speaker. And we will not give up on Anguilla. I said all of that to say that some would have questioned, and maybe rightfully so, my resurgence or re-emergence into the political arena. I would have served here, and I heard some of my colleagues spoke about how many terms they would have been elected to this honorable House. There's no secret, Madam Speaker, that I was elected to this honorable House in 2005, right through to 2025. That is no easy feat. This year, the Anguilla United Front mantra was putting people first. And I sincerely believe, Madam Speaker, that putting people first and catering to the needs of the people will be a success at the polls, even when you have to leave for personal reasons. I would want to thank the people of Valley North for their unwavering support over the years to your humble servant. The present representative would have mentioned Mr. Bernal Richardson, and I would want to place on record my unwavering support for him and his family and what he has taught us in terms of electioneering here in Anguilla. And I would also want to take this opportunity, Madam Speaker, to thank the people throughout Anguilla for their support on February the 26th, 2025, for your humble servant. Sometimes we like to point out facts. Other times individuals may call it a bit of bragging rights. But I was twice a rookie in this honorable house. In 2005, as a representative for Valley North, and in 2025, as an island-wide representative. And I'm saying to my colleagues on both sides of the aisle, don't take it lightly. Putting people first is why we are here, because people put us here. Everyone of us. Madam Speaker, I would have gotten a number of messages, email, texts, and so on and so forth. And one in particular, I'm going to read, and it relates to you as the newly nominated Speaker of this House. It came from an Anguillian who was living overseas and listened to every single House of Assembly over the past 5 years. And she said, Mr. Rogers, we will now have an impartial, unbiased Speaker who will bring not only dignity and integrity to this honorable House and all its proceedings, but a Speaker who will all be proud of. And for that, I thank you. Madam Speaker, the Leader of the Opposition, the former Premier of Anguilla, would have gone through a number of things in his remarks, rightfully so. But I would want to assure the member from Island Harbor, former Premier, that we are not going to stop the senior or junior shield. We are going to improve and we're going to expand the junior and senior shield. And I want to place on record here an open invitation to my classmate. We have another one standing in the back. We have several. Oh, here's one as well. That I will be, because I have his numbers, calling on him so that he and I would be able to have a conversation with respect to improving the quality of healthcare services in Anguilla. So, former Premier and member for District 1, as usual, we spoke before, and we will have to speak again concerning healthcare in Anguilla. I believe that Anguilla's best days are still ahead of us. When I listen to, not that all of us are young or all of us are old, but when I listen to these young men here and my representative from District number 3, District number 4, island-wide, Brother Cardi, who is the grandfather, well, I'm the great, and our young first Hispanic Anguillian in this honorable House, led by my colleague, the Honorable and first female Premier of Anguilla, I have hope. I have hope, Madam Speaker. The Honorable Island-wide member Kyle Hodge spoke about an individual who would listen, well-informed, articulate, because we're going to have differences. It's not easy in government. We're going to have differences, but you have to have a leader who would be able, Madam Speaker, to take on board all our concerns, and at the end of the day, to come up with the best decision for the vast majority of the people of Anguilla. I am here not only, Madam Speaker, to play a role in this honorable House and part of a government, I am here to help guide our young, aspiring minds who are in this honorable house. There's a lot of talent. Sometimes the politics get between it, but we have to allow these young individuals who are well led and will be well advised to take this country to greater heights. Lots of problems, but we have to take them and we have to confront them one by one. As the Deputy Speaker, Madam Speaker, again, another rookie call for your humble servant. Never been Speaker or Deputy Speaker in this honorable house for all those years. But I take that role, and whatever role is needed or is necessary to help propel our people and our country forward. Your humble servant is willing and more than capable of doing that. It's an olive branch to the members of the opposition, to our colleagues here. We have got to work together to be able to move Anguilla forward.
Thank you.
I would have served on this side of the aisle. I would have served on that side of the aisle. I'm aware of these legislative procedures. I'm aware of the Executive Council's decision. But at the end of the day, it is the people who elected us here in this particular honorable house that we have to serve. The opposition can't serve by themselves. The government can't serve by themselves. And Madam Premier, there is no harm and violence in reaching out to the former premiers and chief ministers for advice and for certain, what I would call, relatable experiences, because they would have gone through it before. We would have to make the decision as decision makers, but there's no harm or violence in being surrounded with the information from experienced individuals, and that includes all of the folks on the opposition side. I would want to congratulate the member for District number 4, a rookie in this honorable house, the island-wide member, Mr. Jason, for being in this house on the first occasion. It's not going to be easy, but with time and God's grace, you will get it down pat. Thank you very much. We continue to love Anguilla. God bless us all. May God continue to bless.
Thank you, Honorable Member Evans McNeil Rogers. Unless there are any other addresses, I recognize the Acting Deputy Governor, Dr. Bonnie Richardson Lake.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and congratulations to you. Madam Speaker, honorable ministers, honorable Premier, honorable members of the House, and distinguished guests. It's an honor to address the House today as we mark the opening of this new season of Parliament. I extend a heartfelt congratulations to the newly elected and returning members of this House. To the Honorable Premier and the incoming administration, I offer best wishes as you assume your leadership. May wisdom, integrity, and a shared commitment to progress shape your service. I wish also to reaffirm the unwavering commitment of the Anguilla Public Service to the work ahead. The dedicated men and women of the Anguilla Public Service stand ready to support government's vision, ensuring the effective implementation of policies that will strengthen our institutions, uplift our communities, and secure a brighter future for all. A new parliamentary session brings new opportunities, new challenges, and a renewed sense of purpose. The government has set out its agenda, and the public service, our role is clear. We will work diligently to implement the policies and programs that serve the best interests of the people of Anguilla. We will provide advice that is thorough, support that is steadfast, and where necessary, challenge that is constructive. The government of any nation is a collective effort requiring mutual respect, collaboration, and steadfast commitment to the common good. As we embark on this new chapter, we do so with a shared commitment to excellence, accountability, and service to the people of Anguilla. We stand ready to serve, to support, and to deliver. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Acting Deputy Governor. At this stage, I don't believe there are any other addresses. I personally want to single out the clerks that are at the front. They're my new bosses, and I've reported to duty as of yesterday in training. I want to thank them for their diligence in convening today in the most professional manner, and I look forward to working with them. I also want to thank Ms. Lois Hazel and the choir, the gentlemen that were here prior. Outstanding job, and thank you for their contribution. Thank you to the chaplain, Pastor McDonough. We appreciate you leading this house in the right direction. Thank you for you, the members of the gallery, for your participation. And I did give latitude, but there are going to be rules, and we will observe those on our next sitting. Thank you for your enthusiasm and your support. I for sure want to single out the young people that are off to my left, the Anguilla Youth Parliament. And I'm looking at them and I'm picturing them sitting in these rows because I recognize where they are. 25 years ago, I attended the Youth Parliament in Bahamas, accompanied by the Honorable Leroy Rogers, rest his soul. And I had no idea that the pathway for me and my trajectory would land me here. But I am where I am, and I want to say to you that you have an open invitation, an open standing to attend each and every sitting of this House, and try to do so as often as you can. There's an office that is available for the House where you can make an appointment, and I look forward to assisting you as well. So I'm sorry if I forgot anyone. You are not forgotten. Thank you to the members, and may I have a motion to call this House to an adjournment to the next sitting?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I hereby move that this House be adjourned until the next sitting of the House.
A seconder?
Madam Speaker, I rise to second.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Thank you, Honorable Member. I put the question that this House stands adjourned to the next sitting. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it. Thank you.
Good afternoon to the listening audience. I understand that I can be heard but not seen on this occasion. We have gone past the 12 o'clock hour, and you would have just witnessed the first sitting of the first session of the 13th Anguilla House of Assembly. I think we can safely conclude that it proceeded as I outlined and in accordance with the Constitution and the Anguilla House of Assembly Procedure Rules 2021. We saw the speaker being elected unopposed. She was the sole nomination. So Mrs. Tara Carter is now the Speaker of the Anguilla House of Assembly, the second female to have assumed that role. Mr. Evans McNeil Rogers was also the sole person nominated as Deputy Speaker. So he was elected to that position unopposed. We heard the members give their addresses, and there were no surprises there. There were expressions of gratitude to the electorate for electing them to office. They were very gracious in their commendations and their congratulatory remarks for the Speaker, the Honorable Premier, and Mr. Jason Bryan, the first Dominican Anguillan to be elected to the House of Assembly. And of course, there was some politicking in the comments, as was to be expected. I want us, though, to focus on the comments made by the Speaker of the House of Assembly, who has assumed a very pivotal role and who will be expected to keep order in the House of Assembly. And in her observations, she noted that she is expected to ensure that the government is able to carry out its mandate in her conduct of the House of Assembly. She is expected to ensure that the opposition is heard. And she commented on ensuring the dignity of the House is maintained. These are all three pivotal activities that we hope she will be able to achieve during her tenure as Speaker. The third option, the dignity of the House, will not be left to her alone. It will require the cooperation of all the members of the House if that is to be ensured, and I hope she will receive that cooperation. She mentioned 3 Ds that she expects to see during her tenure as Speaker, and the one she mentioned was decorum, and that decorum is linked to the dignity of the House. And in respect of decorum, I want to mention one of the privileges that members of the House has, which has been abused in the past and which one hopes will not be abused going forward. And that is the privilege of being immune from legal proceedings as dictated by the House of Assembly Powers and Privileges Act. Section 2 of that act provides that no civil or criminal proceedings may be instituted against any member for words spoken before or written in a report to the Assembly or to a committee or by reason of any matter or thing brought by him before the Assembly by petition, bill, question, motion, or otherwise. In essence, this provision allows for members of the House of Assembly to speak freely without fear of being brought before the court in relation to any civil or criminal proceedings based on what they said during those proceedings. That is intended to allow them some freedom in their communications, but sadly it has on occasion been used to vilify members in the House and persons outside the House. It is hoped that the Speaker, in ensuring the dignity and decorum and with the cooperation of her colleagues in the House, will be able to ensure that that provision is not used, is not abused, but is rather used for the purpose for which it was intended. The Speaker also spoke to the fact that she intends to be an impartial arbiter in the conduct of the proceedings. This too is vital in ensuring that persons feel that the House has achieved the dignity that it should have. There have been complaints in the past of speakers being biased in the conduct of their duties. Ms. Tara Carter, having ascended to the office of Speaker, is giving the assurance that she will be an impartial arbiter in the conduct of the proceedings in the House. And I want to read, I did some research, and I found an article that speaks to the political impartiality of the Speaker, and it speaks to it in the context of the UK Parliament. And I'll just read a very brief section of it. It says, the political impartiality of the Speaker is one of the office's most important features, and it is a feature that is most emulated or aspired to outside the UK. It goes on to say, once elected, the Speaker severs all ties with his or her former party and is in all aspects of the job a completely non-partisan figure. In the conduct of her role, Ms. Carter has assured us that she will be an impartial arbiter, and it is therefore expected that she would, in all aspects of the job, be a completely non-partisan figure. It is something to be welcomed in the conduct of her duties. I make one other observation in relation to the stance taken by Mr. Kyle Hodge upon taking the oath. One would have noticed that he did not object to the usual oath, but he prefaced it by indicating that he was there to serve the people and he was taking an oath to them, he was pledging to them. The rules do apply, the UK rules, which can be adopted in Anguilla when we don't have such rules, for a person to express their objection to taking the usual oath and then to proceed the oath. Because as I indicated before the session started, members cannot participate in proceedings before the House until they have taken the oath. But if they have some objection on some basis, they can express that objection and then proceed to take the oath, with the objection having been expressed before or after. But I will stress, in Minister Kyle Hodges' instance, he did not express an objection. I think he simply tailored it so that he was assuring the people of Anguilla that his allegiance was to them. I close making one observation. We would have noted that in the context of Anguilla, we have in pivotal positions 3 ladies. The Speaker of the House is a female, the Premier of Anguilla is a female, and the Governor of Anguilla is a female. Women in Anguilla have much to be happy about, and I think that they are indeed pleased with the ascension of these ladies to these various positions. We congratulate them all, and we expect that they will deliver the best for Anguilla in the positions that they hold. I thank you for sharing with me this morning and into the afternoon, and that concludes my commentary on this session. Thank you.